You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of Knuckle Up! Welcome, my friends, to a show that seemingly never ends. It is a mobile edition. Mobile edition of Knuckle Up. I am your host, Popeye Robinson. Hey, fuck you. Yeah, he's lost interest. Welcome, my friends, to a show that seemingly never ends. It is the round number 216 mobile edition of Knuckle Up, because I don't have time to sit in one spot. A guy like me is going, I'm moving, I'm making, I'm breaking. I got deals all over the place. In 2009, Americans paid lowest tax rates in 30 years to the federal government. 30 years. How you like that? I love Mark Schultz, but his support for Mitt Romney drives me crazy. Mitt Romney is a Mormon robot. I'm not so politically correct that I can't put Mormon in front of it. I would call him a Scientology robot if he was that. This is round number 216. I'm EUGENE S. Robinson, your host of Knuckle Up. You've come to Combat Music Radio to hear it. Yeah, last week the show was out of sync. I have no idea if it'll be that way this week. I'm taking a real good look at your face. There's been some disturbing news and some enlightening news. There's a heat wave here in California, and I can't do the show, and I can't do the show and run the air conditioning in the car, which means I'm gonna do the show until I'm overcome with heat, and when I'm overcome with heat, I'll pass out. And the car will skid to a stop, and that'll be your show. Got it? Skid to the stop, the show is done. If I don't die in the vehicle, then you will actually see the show. If by some chance I die in the vehicle, then you're not going to see the show, because anybody who finds a dead body, first off and foremost, is going to steal a laptop. So you can get that's out. So that music in the background is Stigmata, a band I put out on my label years ago. They're from Rochester, New York. Bob Riley is singing. The record is called The Calling of the Just. And Bob Riley is the brother-in-law of Harley Flanagan, who was on the show last week. And unless you've been in a cave, if you've had any access to internet at all and are tuned into these things, these such-like things, you might have heard a good friend of Knuckle Up make some headlines. If not, I suggest you go to Google or whatever server you like to use best, and type in Harley Flanagan, and you'll see that the Webster Hall show celebrating CBGBs was canceled after Harley was arrested for stabbing two members of the apostate CRO-MAGs. I'm sorry, my friends. I gotta do something. I'm dying. Ooh, give me a break. I know it might be very hard to hear me right now, but the heat is intense. People have been dying in their cars. I'd open the window, but it's noisy outside. So, So the news headlines are full of lies, and this is a useful and noteworthy sorry, I got turned down. It's driving me to distraction. A useful and noteworthy example of how the media works. Let me give you an example. This is round number 216. I'm your host, EUGENE S. Robinson. Let me give you an example from my history. I was hanging out on the Lower East Side, and the year was 1982. And I was hanging out with Booby from Anti-Warfare. Some other guys were around, maybe John Watson, the first singer for the CRO-MAGs. And this friend of ours, Lisa, from Jersey, spare her last name, runs up to us and says, "So-and-so tried to rape me." The first words out of everybody's mouth were, "No, get out of here. What are you, crazy? No way. He's our friend." No. I was quiet. And she was like, "Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. I hate you guys. You don't believe me. What the fuck?" And I said, "Hey, whoa, everybody. Wait a minute. Out of all of the things that she could have run in here tonight and have said, the moon is nice. I have some orange juice. Where's HR? Out of all the things she could have said, she came in here tonight and said, dude tried to rape me. A dude who we were all friends with, but who she had no emotional romantic connection with. Nor did she have a hostile feeling about him. So I said, out of all the things that she could have said, why did she come in here and say that one? And people got quiet. They thought about it. And we went and found the guy and beat him to within an inch of his life. So you can read all the newspapers you want. I still try to consider myself fairly agnostic. Pardon the use of the word. Fairly agnostic on the continuing fight between John Joseph, or John Bloodclot, the singer for the CRO-MAGs, and HARLEY FLANAGAN, the founder, along with Paris Mayhew, and a lyricist and later vocalist for the CRO-MAGs. There are only two original guys in the CRO-MAGs. Mackie. Well, hold on. Was Mackie an original guy? I don't know. I don't know my hardcore history as well as I might. But John Joseph is clearly the main original guy. But he wasn't even the original guy because he wasn't the first singer. I like John Joseph. Talked to him a lot. Hung out with him. Smart guy. More than a smart guy, he's a hustler. You know, he's managed to make it by his wits and wiles for almost his entire life, and done quite well for himself. But there's right and there's wrong. Add it up. The story starts to stink from the beginning. People said, oh, they saw Harley outside. Keep in mind, anybody at the CRO-MAG show have clearly voted with their dollars and their feet that they were perfectly okay with the CRO-MAG's review. I haven't seen any incarnation of Black Flag, since they've all been non-approved incarnations of Black Flag. Sorry. I'll scream louder. I don't see reunions that are not real reunions. Now, I have nothing against John Joseph wanting to make music. But if John Joseph wants to make music, my suggestion is that John Joseph write new music. If people want the old songs, they can play the old songs. Simple. If you're going to play the songs that Harley wrote, the lyrics and the music to, if AMI or BMI or ASCAP were worth anything, you'd have to pay performance royalties. But you're not going to be making $20,000 a show while Harley's sitting at home unable to pay for his wife's chemotherapy or radiation therapy. You're also not going to find Harley, who trains jiu-jitsu 2 or 3 hours every day, taking a time out of his busy schedule of being a primary caregiver to his husband, his sick wife, and teaching jiu-jitsu. You're probably not going to find him just choosing to go down to a hardcore show. Harley's a friend of mine, and Oxbow has played very close to his house even. He has not made it. Why would he go to this show? I've heard different rumors. I've heard different things. I've heard that he was asked and invited to come to play on a couple of songs. And when he got there, he was jumped. This is infinitely more reasonable to me than him trawling around in front of the club, which used to be the Ritz. Webster Hall used to be the Ritz. So for those of you who are older New Yorkers, remember, place location on 12th Street. Him ranting up and down in front of the club with a hunting knife. Him getting in through the front door, past the security. I'm pretty sure nobody put him on the guest list. If somebody put him on the guest list, this will be known. Getting into the club. Getting into the backstage area. Even after John Joseph supposedly said, this guy's crazy, don't let him in. Then running up to Mike the Gook and another member of the CRO-MAGs and stabbing them in the chest. Come on, give me a fucking break. It doesn't pass the smell test. I'm being agnostic on this whole thing, but it doesn't pass the smell test. You know? And it doesn't for a second change the reality. Okay, I'm gonna try the windows. It doesn't really make a difference because it's like 280 degrees out here. And Republicans, Republicans would be like Germans in 1945. Sitting out in the bombed out shells of what used to be their stately manses, saying, I guess we were wrong. Oh well. This generator I have has enough gas to last me another 18 hours. So I'll live 18 hours longer than you. Sorry I made a mistake. Don't even get me started. I cannot be reasonable about this thing. That's why I joined that Facebook group. Arguing with Republicans is stupid. Just makes you angry. Chuck Dukowski said it best, collective action has got us to where we are today. I'm not a communist. But you know what? My day is infinitely better with mental patients getting help they need. If I got to pay taxes to get that to happen, I'm fine. I got taxes, I hit a pothole, I'm outraged. And that's... Yeah. So I'm not buying the story. I'm not buying the press. I'm not buying any of it. Not a single bit of it. So there, if you go to my Facebook page, scroll down a little bit, there's a link to Harley's Army Facebook page where people are taking donations for the defense fund, so at least he can get out of jail. He's on Rikers Island right now. Needs to get out. His brother-in-law, Bob Riley, the one singing in Stigmata behind me, has fallen in with DMS. Used to stand for Doc Martin Skins. According to Harley, stands for Don't Mean Shit. Organizationally, it's not just a punk rock fan club, but DMS. What they do, I'll leave up to another show. But the reality of it is, it's simple. And anybody in the know knows this. Harley, you have, people want to talk about OGs and New York hardcore. There's one person who bridges the gap between the New York art scene, old punk rock, hardcore in New York City, and that's Harley Flanagan. And believe me, people say, oh, well, stabbing may not be the solution, but it's a solution. And if you sat down with a pen and paper and figured out how much this guy was owed from his songs that were played, it would be a sizable amount. It would make a big difference. I'm not saying that John Joseph has got to continue playing in a band with a person he despises. But I'm saying if you're going to do the guy's songs, you got to pay. I don't care if we're in a download universe. I don't care. You got to pay. And if I'm in that situation, if Oxbow kicks me out, can't live with me, they go on, and they get another singer, and that's fine. Do new songs. I'll even graciously let you use the name. Go ahead. Use Oxbow. I got a question for you. Do you think that Slash is getting royalties? I guarantee you Slash is getting royalties. It's the right thing to do. You know, Harley was wanting to do some rapprochement. He wasn't wanting a check. It's like we should play together again. It would be huge. It would be huge. Now you got guys, Whipping Boy's old bass player who I used to work with at Adobe. Say, oh man, we got to jam again. We got to be in a band again. I despise this guy. I despise him because of the way he quit Whipping Boy. Play with the guy again. You don't have to play with anybody you don't want to play with, but I don't do his songs. Well, he never had any songs. So don't believe what you read. Donate a little bit if you can to the defense fund. Take what you would have given to Knuckle Up this week. Well, don't do that because you're not giving anything to Knuckle Up this week. And go to Harley's Army on Facebook. Donate some money if you can. Email me. I'll give you the website. If anybody listening to the show is down with DMS and wants to issue a threat my way, you should go ahead. Make your threats. I'll give you a schedule of where I'm going to be in America for the next 6 months. Try it. Try it. Anyway, that's it. I want to get back to MMA. This is going to be a short show because I'm going to die if I have to do a longer show. Can you hear me with Popeye's breathing? Hey. 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 Yeah, stop that. Stop at that. Stop at that breathing. I'm sweating. You know, I took a shower. And I gotta tell you, I'm falling asleep. Oh, somebody wants to send me $9.5 million. Jewel Bongo. Is it likelihood that a woman named Jewel Bongo is going to send me $9.5 million? Is that going to happen on this planet? You see, the dog is going crazy. That's because it's 115 degrees in this car. Anyway, I'm talking about UFC 148. UFC 148. Anderson Silva pummeling Chael Sonnen. All of my picks were dead on, except for my Damian Maia Dong Young Kim one, and I don't think Maia can claim a win when the guy you're fighting gets hurt. All that means is God loved you that day. Sorry. No, it's really punishing. Of course, there are no wildfires here and people are not dying, but I'm just gonna have to scream. Can you hear me? I'm hoping so. I just been challenged to a fight. Oh, I should have known. You know what? You know what I don't like? I don't like guys concealing. Their jiu-jitsu status in order to challenge me and to catch me unawares. If I haven't fought you and you're inviting me to fight you, I'm going to assume right away that you're a black belt. And I'm going to crush you. Crush you like a nut. Anyway, the fight, go to MMAshare.com. Yeah, I know I don't like stealing music or anything, but go. You got to watch the fight. It only lasts 2 rounds, not 2 full rounds. And you'll hear the Chael Sonnen nut jumpers. You'll hear them talking about, oh, he was greasing himself down. You know, they put Vaseline on the face. Every single fight he's had, he kind of takes the Vaseline off his face and kind of rubs it on his body. Supposedly, whatever the Vaseline he has on his face, he could do that during the fight. Come out the first few seconds and go boom, boom, boom. Eve Levine caught it like it didn't break any rules. It's not like he did it like GSP in the corner when he's surrounded by his guys and it was supposed to be hidden. He did it right when everybody was looking at him. And Eve Levine took a towel, wiped him down. He was drier than he would have been ordinarily. Did it benefit him the first round? Nope. He would have slipped out of Chael's grasp. Chael shot in on him, took him down, but couldn't convert. What everybody else saw was like, oh shit, he's beating Anderson Silva up, he's beating him up. Now, you know what was really happening? Anderson Silva was stymieing whatever he did, wrapping up his arms, moving his legs to see how much Vinny Margules had actually taught Chael. And you know what he learned? True to form, like with wrestlers, what he learned is that Chael Sonnen had not given a tinker's damn. Not a tinker's damn for submissions. Because you put me in half guard and give me somebody's right arm, I'm submitting them. Not Chael. Just tried to make with the pity pat, got tied up. The round ended, nothing. Of course, the judges had to score it 10-9 for Chael. But at that point, you know, I mean, keep in mind a few things that had been said. Anderson Silva had gone on ESPN and said, I'm going to take him out the first round. What somebody else said, there's a great quote here, and I'll read it. I'll read it to you. It's from Brian. And he says, someone else recently put it, Anderson Silva is playing chess, and Chael Sonnen is playing checkers with half the pieces missing. You know, so, sorry. So once he figures out that Chael has got, and then he said, what else did he say? You got to keep in mind, this is multi-level player chess. So what else does Anderson say before? He goes, I'm the champion. I don't change nothing. I do it the same way. Lies. Lies. Anything you say, you got to realize the enemy camp is going to get it. So what does Chael Sonnen do? He goes, perfect. He's falling into my trap. I'll take him down and ground and pound him just like I did last time. There's no need for me to make a change. His ego is big enough that he thinks he's got, his injury, his fake injury. I guarantee you Anderson Silva's been working with wrestlers. You know how I know? Because of what happened the second round. 3, 4, maybe 5 shooting attempts were stymied. Creating what I'd like to call, I'll move it closer. Creating what I'd like to call a crisis in confidence. A crisis in confidence. Chael Sonnen at that point goes, fuck, god damn it. I've been snookered. He has worked on he's been working with wrestlers, obviously. Alright, well, I had some success with my wild looping overhand rights. First fight, let's try one of those. This time the timing was down. Got hit a couple times. Decided to go for a Hail Mary. Chael Sonnen said it best. This sport's got a 50% fail rate. In trying a spinning elbow to a spinning back fist. You see what did you see what Anderson Silva did when he tried that? Yes, I know I'm going to hear from the nut jumpers. Oh, he grabbed his shorts. There was a lot of shorts grabbing. Not long enough to make a difference. Most people will block the spinning back fist or move their head away. You see what Anderson Silva did? He ducked it. And he came up with a combination that put that man on his back. Chael Sonnen sat there. I mean, you had to know. You had to know that Anderson the Spider Silva is not going to jump into your guard. Not going to try to hold you down. He needs you in the chest. According to Dana White. According to the replay. According to everybody but anybody on Chael Sonnen's team who's now making the claim, tried to make the claim in light of an appeal, that it wasn't where the knee ended up, but where it was intended to end up. Since he had intended the knee for the face, even if he hit the chest, he should be penalized. He should be disqualified, declared a no contest. I want to quote Tito Ortiz at this point in time, who after he beat Ken Shamrock the second or third time, and he said, "I'll fight Ken Shamrock once a week if he wants." I need the air conditioning again. I'm dying. Woo! Let them eat cake. Everybody going to movies. It's air conditioned now. I went to the movie the other day and I almost died. I saw Savages. Oliver Stone. Here's another S word. In addition to Savages and Stone. Sucked. The whole movie was based on whether you think it's believable that some men would pay $15 million to get behind a woman whose appeal seemed to be simply that she let herself get double teamed. In my day, I've double teamed quite a few women. Not for $15 million. And in the movie, the only good line was delivered by that Spanish chick that everybody thinks is so hot, whose name I can't remember. Not Penelope Cruz. I think I'm about to vomit from the heat, by the way. Not Penelope Cruz, but this other one. And she says to the girl who's been kidnapped, "There's something wrong with your love story, baby." Because if they loved you, there's something wrong with your love story, baby. I think they love each other more than they love you, otherwise they couldn't share you. That's true. Can't double team everybody all the time. It's been my experience. Anyway, I digress. So now Chael Sonnen in his camp has been faced with Dana White. And Dana White saying, I saw the film. I don't give a shit about intention. All I care about is what I saw in the film. In other words, what happened. What happened is a knee to the chest, during which Chael Sonnen fell over. Stick your finger into your solar plexus right now. And then add 185 pounds of angry Negro behind that thumb. You'd fall over too. I was hoping that he would do a Julio Cesar Chavez, but he kind of did. After this, he punched him like 3 or 4 times in the face, backed off, let him stand up. Punched him a few more times. The wrestler's willingness and ability to take punches diminished exponentially, until by the 3rd or 4th punch, he figured the best place for me to be is on the nice, cool blue canvas of the octagon, which is where he stayed and remained. Now, the other bit of news I have for you before I end this baton death march of a show, the other news I have for you is that at this point where he's beaten, what happens? Anderson Silva calls him over. He calls him over, and he says something very gracious. He says to the Brazilian people in the audience, we're fighters. He insulted my country, insulted my family, but we're fighters. He trained hard for this. I want you to applaud him as well. And to show you my heart's in the right place, I'm going to invite him to a barbecue at my house. That's what Americans heard. If you were watching with people who spoke Portuguese, or know anybody who speaks Portuguese, or care to play it back to somebody who... That's not what he said. He said he could come to a barbecue, pause, ellipsis, hyphen, and he should bring his wife. That was a fuck you. Why does Eugene look so bad today? Because Eugene Robinson has stopped eating. Why have I stopped eating? Because I have a fight this weekend. And I want to fight at 204. And I keep getting the same reading on the scale. 209, 207, 211, 212. I got to deal with it the way a man does. Stop eating. Last time I weighed myself, 205.5. I got weigh-ins Friday night. I'm going to train every day, and I won't eat until then. 203, nice safe buffer. Fuck that. So Anderson Silva gets a last laugh, and you know what? I knew something was amiss. I'm dizzy. I knew something was amiss, and I knew CHAEL was standing there like a dummy, like a Special Olympics kid. And Anderson is there smiling, and everybody in Brazil got it, and every Brazilian in attendance laughed, and Brazilian guys watching a pay-per-view all over laughed their asses off. He effectively blocked CHAEL Sonnen. I'll read you what Reader Brian said. Genius. The best part about this is that Silva completely destroyed any interest in a rematch by appearing magnanimous in the cage after the fight. He killed CHAEL's heel wrestler character that floated him to this fight by acting like the bigger man. If he had crippled CHAEL and told him to suck it immediately afterwards, the UFC could have put together a third match on the storyline. Cue the music. The last time it was for the title. Dun dun dun. This time it's for respect. Dun dun dun. Fight clips, voiceover, blah blah blah. Instead, by neutering him verbally after the fight, by putting his hand on his shoulder and loving up on him while Sonnen looked like his dog just died, there are pictures attached, Silva killed any interest in seeing this continue and insulated himself against future provocation. Verbal jiu-jitsu at its finest. Now, CHAEL's team, not CHAEL, CHAEL's team is demanding a rematch. At first they tried to go for a DQ or no contest. Nobody was buying that. Just like when Forrest Griffin pulled his stunt and ran from the cage post-beating Tito, Dana White caught up to him and said, you get fucking back in there or you will have committed professional fucking suicide. Get back out there! And Forrest, realizing that there's no way to misunderstand professional fucking suicide, got back out there. So they dropped it, pushing for the DQ or the no contest. They dropped the NSAC. Keith Kaiser, dumbass from the NSAC, and I've met this guy before, and he's a cheese-eating prick. I don't fucking like him. I can finally come out and say what I feel, because what's he going to do to me? I'm doing the show from my car. How degraded could my circumstance be? I know how degraded it could be. I could be doing the show from the sidewalk. And then I could be doing the show over telephone. Not cell phone that I pay for. So what's Kaiser going to do to me? Now Kaiser's saying Anderson's not welcome because of the elbow, the shoulder he threw in the CHAEL Sonnen at the... Where was concern for a convicted felon? The shrinking violet Sonnen. The delicate flower of West Lynn, Oregon. Oh, he got an elbow. This is not boxing after all. We don't have convicted felons with drug problems in the cage. Not like boxing at all. Come on. Coach Leopoldo Serrao said it best. I'm sorry to have to bring you this bit of racial politics. And what fuels the debate in MMA is exactly why I said MMA would be famous. It's a combat sport where white guys are competitive again. Okay? And as I try to explain to my friends in Poland and Russia, if you're white, if you got white skin and you speak English with an accent, you're not white. Nobody thinks you're white. They don't. Nobody in America, no white guy is going to feel comfortable. Unless you're fucking English or Irish. Leopoldo Serrao said it best. It's pathetic how badly they want the white guy. Think back to when Rich Franklin got his ass kicked by Anderson Silva. Dana White looked like he was going to die. Was it because they got a guy, now I got a champion who doesn't speak English? No. Because it ruins the storyline that he's trying to sell to Fox's America. How could you hate Anderson Silva? You read these nut jumpers online. Same people that hate John Jones. He's cocky. But they love CHAEL Sonnen. He's not cocky. Cocky's good. Unless it's a black guy being cocky. I guess it's too cocky. He's got the cock and he's cocky. Bad for business. So let's go through it. Let's go through the champions. Heavyweight. Gio Dos Santos. Brown skin, speaks with an accent, not white. John Jones, not white. Anderson Silva, not white. Let's keep on going. GSP, he's white. But he speaks English with an accent and he's French. He speaks French. Jose Aldo, not white. Dominic Cruz, not white. Benson Henderson just beat Frankie Edgar, the last white hope, not white. The fuck can I say, man? I'll tell you what. I'll trade you 4 or 5 captains of industry for a few championship belts, okay? Why don't you put me in charge of Goldman Sachs, and then we'll work it out so that you can have a white heavyweight champ. They're in the mix. I mean, come on. It's not like boxing, where white cats have been squeezed out. Come on, I'm not talking fucking bullshit to you. They asked an Asian guy at some point where Asian guys were getting beaten up because the Japanese were kicking ass and Toyota was selling tons of cars and everybody's like, buy American. They chased some Japanese-American guy down in Detroit and beat him to death. This happened in 1985. It fucking happened. And they asked some Asian guy, do you feel any extra sense of special pride that all these Americans are driving Hondas and Toyotas, Datsun? They still make Datsuns? I don't think. What do you think they said? I don't care what they said. It adds to the narrative, Rather, it adds to a narrative that counters a narrative that people feel very comfortable believing. Let me explain something to you. I just saw this movie. Maybe I talked about it last week, and I'm very sure I did. Safe House. Denzel Washington. He's the executive producer. Suddenly, you're aware of the fact all these roles that could casually be filled by people who are not white, which makes the movie look much more like my reality, they never do. Oh, a gas station attendant. White. Cab driver. White. Unless there's a joke, then you make him Indian with a turban. You know what? Charles Manson said it best. There are 2 ways to get to the cross. You can walk comfortably or you can get dragged kicking and screaming. What is the old joke about the Jewish businessman? The Gentile businessman says, fuck it. The Jewish businessman says, fuck it, let's make this work. Don't be so naked in the hatred here. I mean, John Jones, before his DUI, chased down a guy who mugged an old lady, wrestled him to the ground, rescued her purse. He wants to be a cop, loves the military. His brothers play, one brother plays college ball, the other plays pro football. His father's a preacher. If this guy were fucking white, you'd be all over him. And I say I'm not talking to you guys who are in the know, but I'm talking to these nut jumpers. You spend any time on the forums, you're gonna get the worst representation of, of American stupidity. I'm dying. Popeye's dying. So, this hatred to Anderson Silva bolsters my idea that America really, couple of things, I'm getting off the race thing, that America really doesn't love a winner. Because we really don't think we're winners. I don't know what the reasons for this are. I just know what is. Lovable losers, the bad news bears. We love these plucky stories of teams that almost do it. And we have no space in our hearts for guys who do it. That is why Mitt Romney will lose this election. I called all the fights. I'm calling the election for you. You know why? Because he's a winner. Mitt Romney has never had a day of suffering his entire fucking life. Never had a bill that he couldn't pay. Never had a moment of concern about where the next meal was coming from. Never had anything but a future that looked like gold and diamonds. Oh, he went on a mission and got crashed into when he was in France. Like it or not, Obama, child of a single mom whose father absconded, single mom who was a hippie and didn't really take very much care of him either, dumping him off with grandparents here and there. That's a much more American story. People may not want to admit it. One-issue voters, abortion, gay shit. One-issue voters won't see it. But deep down, we feel it. Nobody expected him to win. He's a loser. Right, losers who win and winners who lose. In any case, watching CHAEL's face and watching the press conference afterward, a few things became pretty clear. Sorry. A few things became pretty clear. That I don't know what kind of jiu-jitsu he's going to have to pull. But CHAEL Sonnen, you ever see the movie The Duelist? Well, forget about that. The Duelist with Harvey Keitel, Keith Carradine. Think about Bartleby the Scrivener. This guy's a lost man. He said if he didn't win, he would retire. He meant it. He's not going to retire, but his soul is dead. Anyway, my battery's about to run out. I'm about to pass out and vomit from the heat. Because I haven't been drinking. Because of my special diet regimen to lose this weight. So I'm going to have to end the show here. You got about 45 minutes. Welcome, my friends, to a show that seemingly never ends. This is round number 200. It really is super hot. Round number 216. Go to the Harley's Army page. Donate. If you're a fighter, especially. If you're a fan of music, especially. I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong in this whole thing. I'm just saying being in Rikers Island with a broken leg is not the best place to launch an effective defense. And I don't buy any of the stories, any of the lies. DMS can come up with a whole club full of people to say that what they saw, what they saw. And they've been threatening people, which I don't like fucking bullies. I don't like muscle. So this has been round number 216. I'm your host, EUGENE Sauna. EUGENE S. S for Sauna Robinson. We'll see you next week. And for those who are interested, I am depressed. And I'm doing the show. Make of that what you would. We'll see you next week. No bell. Sorry. I gotta put sound effects in later, maybe, but I'm done. Anyway, bye.